Hi and welcome back again. In this video we're going to be looking at just a few more vocabulary words for places around town and also looking at some of the words that are going to be connected with the synagogue. One important place, the place where you begin your story, is Haoikos Simonos, Simon's house. He Agora is the marketplace, or the market. He Stoa is the portico or colonnade, and in most marketplaces we would find colonnades, covered colonnades, often quite wide, surrounding the marketplace to provide shade, because the days around the Mediterranean were extremely hot. Ta Balaneion is the bathhouse, or public baths. And the bathhouse was really one of the central buildings in any town or city. It was a community center because people would go and men would bathe together at one time, and in most cases women would go at a separate time and bathe together. And it would be a chance not just to wash, but to socialize, to gossip, to pass news. A synagogue is the synagogue, the meeting house. And a synagogue was not just a sort of church, not just a religious building, although that was where Jews would meet on the Sabbath for prayer and to hear the scriptures read. It was also a real community center. It was the place where all of the Jewish community's affairs would be dealt with. It was even a place where visiting Jews might be offered a place to sleep and provided with a little bit of food. Ta Gymnasium is the gymnasium, and we can see how Ta Gymnasium relates directly to our word gymnasium. This was not just a place for athletics, although that was a big part of it. It was usually an open-air field with some buildings surrounding it and sometimes a colonnade surrounding it. And in those buildings would take place the education of the young men of the town or the city, particularly the wealthier or higher status young men. The young men who were being prepared and groomed to take on political responsibility in the city once they reached adulthood. So the gymnasium, yes, it was for forming young men physically, but it was also for holistically forming their bodies, their minds, their values. One of the words that would be heard a lot in a synagogue would be hotheos. This, in Jewish terms, means God, capital G, but was also a generic term used by Greeks and Romans to talk about any god or deity. Ha Christos, those Jews who had believed the news about this anointed one, Jesus, would talk a lot about Ha Christos, and this means anointed one or Messiah, and we transliterate it into English as Christ. It wasn't yet really a name for Jesus, though. It certainly wasn't Jesus' last name. It, at this stage in the New Testament, was still a title, the Anointed One, the Messiah, and it had connotations of royalty. Also, in the synagogue, we would hear a lot of talk about ta pneuma. This means breath or wind, but it also means spirit. And so ta pneuma ta hagion would be the Holy Spirit, and ta pneuma theou would be God's Spirit. In English, we get words that have to do with air from this Greek word pneuma. So words like pneumatic or pneumonia, which have to do, in the one case, with using air power, in the other case, with not getting enough air into your lungs.